Hi there. This is a reading for your inner child, and it's a new format for me. I have practiced. I just laid out a reading here in advance because it's new, and I'm going to share with you what is a really beautiful reading for a very beautiful inner child who is feeling lonely. And yeah, so there's a number of cards here. It's a 7 card spread with 2 oracle cards, and we will look at the bottom of the deck, and then I'll clarify with 1 card from the Guardian of the Night. And I'm using Glimpse Tarot here, which is perfect, it turned out, for this particular inner child. So if you're here, you're obviously someone that does inner child work. And I want to say this, that when I first came to inner child work and I heard the idea of it, I was like, no way. That's so lame. But it has helped me to do this process of reparenting more than anything that I've done. This process has healed me and opened my heart in really beautiful ways that I find quite moving, and so I can feel that right here. And I used to feel embarrassed about it, like, because it seems crazy that the feeling that I have is of having multiple selves that split off, and that I became like an incredibly lame grown up who is just completely run by this dysfunctional story, and the way that it had translated into behaviors that I call that I would categorize as survivalism. So I was surviving life when I came to inner child work. And now the fact that I'm doing this right here with you and that I'm willing to share it with you, this is one of the results of inner child work. So this reading is about a very beautiful, healthy, creative inner child, part of yourself, and probably of me as well. I mean, I recognize this kid. Um, and and so I think that it's a possibility that you coming here, who probably have done this work yourself, may be similarly in this state. I don't know. There's something that happens when we connect to you here through YouTube. It's a very powerful, compelling connection. And in this time of Corona isolation, which is increasing again now, this has been one of the ways that I have sustained my soul. So thank you for being here if you're here. If it's just me and the camera and me and the camera, this is so much like mirror work that I learned to do in my inner child work and the process of reparenting, which is I simply look in the mirror and I say, I love you. And the first time that I did this, and probably many times after that, I've just felt so moved. I wept. I needed to tell myself, I love you. And so you probably need to tell yourself, I love you, or you've done that and that's why you're here. Okay, so the first thing just kind of feeling this out and putting this together, I wanted to know which inner kid is appearing here. And so the oracle cards told me that this inner kid is here, fruition, right? This creative, young kid with all this basket of fruit and flowers and bugs under the moon here, this magical child wearing a mask, is what I see. And I thought of fruitiness, and I thought of how there is an inner kid in me who I call Will, who's a little gay boy, who's 10. And when I first discovered this kid, I was worried that it was a boy. And it was a kind of, the closest I've had to what it must feel like to be a transgender person, of like finding that inside of me, and I see it, yes, I recognize I'm a boyish person, but identify as a woman. I'm proud to be a woman. I'm a feminist And there's something important to me about, maintaining this identity. It's something to do with when I was born. Probably if I were a youngster, I would be non-binary. But when I found that there was a boy in me, I had to kind of confront this shame that at some point I had identified as a boy. And when I was 10, this was really a strong time of identification with my father, and of being, he had 2 daughters and I was the son. Sometimes he has called me son. Sometimes he has called me big brother. But this inner kid, the fruity one, is very creative, very joyful, probably wears a mask of lightheartedness a lot, is what I thought when I saw this. Super, fruity. And so, just like me, who doesn't like really identify as male, to have like a gay side or a fruity side, like if you're super controlled. So this is another aspect of you, and this kid will come in and take care of things for you. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm just really feeling out this video, and so I'm probably giving you more information than you need. So this is the kid in you who is a little gay, is a lot artsy, likes to wear costumes, and perhaps hides behind a mask of this sort of lightness and silliness and fun. And behind that mask, we see the lone wolf, this hunger, this loneliness. When my dog hears a wolf howling, he howls in the most earnest way. This is, and when I have howled, he looks at me with such compassion, because I think, perhaps this is just complete projection, but this is, I'm lonely and I'm calling out to my fellows, and I'm just doing it as a kind of act of faith that there are other ones like me out there. So this is the inner child that we're meeting, this light gay exterior over this deeply lonely interior. Okay, so then we have a 7-card reading. The first card is how my inner child feels right now, and this is such a beautiful Knave of Wands, or the Page of Wands here, and this is a young, so perfect for an inner child, creative, courageous person who feels inspired and just excited by this inspiration, right? So that is how our fruity little inner child is feeling right now. Secondly, the cards tell us what I lacked as a child, what you lacked as a child. And we get here the 7 of Pentacles. So this could very simply be that when we were kids, we were poor. And that this is true when I was this age. We were poor, although we lived in a beautiful, lush place. And I see that tension here. The 7 of Pentacles is often about you work really hard and you struggle with the fact that it's hard to see the fruits of your labor. So there's a lack of recognition here in your childhood. And there is that you're, that dancing and smiling and not getting anything for all of the effort that you're putting out. A lot isn't coming back. And this is a very common experience. So you're not getting approval, you're not getting acceptance, you're not getting credit or recognition when you're little. And then we ask, what is an example? What is one trauma that happened as a child? And I get the 3 of Wands, which is, this is quite a card that to speak to a trauma here. So I see this hyper visibility, I see nakedness, I see that she's holding a glass, a looking glass. So to me, this is about being visible and about being vulnerable and naked. And here I notice she has beautiful flowers in her hair. But she is a bit struck by the attention here. It is not a comfortable attention. This could be sexual attention, a kind of, I immediately thought of sexual abuse when I saw this card, but it could just be that when you were seen, because we're seeing here there's a lack of recognition, but when you were seen, it wasn't a comfortable way of being seen. So you were seen through. So remember, we have this kid wears a mask, so this kid is protecting themselves with a mask, right? When you wear a mask because they're trying to hide. And to me, this card is about being seen in a way that you don't want to be seen. And it's a very naked, very physical body here. Yeah. So I just want to say that, there's all of these beautiful dandelions here. There's dandelions ready to burst here. And there are dandelions in her hair. And this reminds me again of the way that this person is wearing all of this fruits and flowers in their hair, this little inner kid. And when I think of dandelions, I just feel like this bursting. There's a kind of, I'm going to just burst off and fly on the wind. I'm going to just fly apart kind of feeling under this gaze. So I just wanted to say I'm sorry for that trauma, and that you're not alone in having had that trauma. This is one that I relate to, and perhaps I'm just sharing with you my inner child experience. But I hope that my sharing my story a little bit here will help you. Okay, so then how does this affect my life now? And we get, I think quite perfectly, we get the Magician. And I see this magician, and I'll talk a little bit more about the meaning of magician, but I see this person as hiding behind that snake. She's kind of back, right? She's pulling her head back here in the card. She is dressed in red, which is that wands color, that willpower color. And the Magician is a wonderful way to be shaped, actually, that affects your life now. Like, in one way, it's like you have all the tools to survive, right? The Magician has the wand, they have the cups, they have the pentacles, and they have the swords. So they have all of the tools. So, and this is what it feels like. I have all these tools that I can survive life. And they're also manifestors. So they envision a world and then they make it so. And so these are actually ways of describing the traits that we can acquire from coming through some kind of trauma that splits us apart, so that this inner child is created, that we have multiple tools for protecting ourselves, and really ways that actually shape our reality. The Magician can be quite manipulative too, but is also a very powerful and magical self. And so I think with all the effects of coming up in a childhood of dysfunction, we do have, there's a dark side to this where it limits our existence, and then there's all of these amazing skills that can come with that. And the Magician perfectly captures this for me in a way. Like, the Magician will clarify, I'll pull a clarification card or two. I want to pull one, but I like to pull three, so we'll see. But this seems to me to be a very general answer to the question of how this affects my life now. Then we have something that we can do to heal this inner child, and we get the Three of Cups. So here we see two friends. I see the Three of Cups is about friendship, and it's about reconciliation. And I see how each woman is reaching behind the other for the cup that is emotional, that represents the emotions and feelings, right? So we have a close bond. There are two people in this friendship, And this is usually about more than two people, but this card speaks to me of a kind of Two of Cups. Like these are one-on-one connections. Friendship is what the card is about, as it is also about reconciliation. So to heal my inner child, of course, I develop a relationship and a conversation with my child. Like we reconcile. I was a pretty lame grown up. I was a total doormat. I abandoned and betrayed myself. The effects of this say that we became quite controlling. We just had this whole set of tools and this whole way of acting in the world that isolated us, right? It hid us, so we wear a mask. But this is two people who are naked and open with one another. This is a truly intimate friendship or relationship. It is a friendship. I just want to say, like, if it were a Two of Cups or a Four of Wands, I would be thinking this is a romantic relationship, but I don't think that. And I think that sometimes from our trauma, right, and from this feeling of loneliness, of deep soul, lone wolf loneliness, that the idea can be that I need a lover. But this says not that. It says that you share an Ace of Cups, right? That cup between these two. This is the friendship the two people make. But this is a relationship between you and your inner child. And that when you learn how to be friends with yourself, you then become capable of making friends with others, and including your other inner children, if you relate to that. I feel like that is a part of my reparenting process, is getting to know the relationships and the tensions between what really feels like a group of young people in me that I get to have this lovely little family inside of me. And so the Three of Cups here, as a way of healing that, speaks to all of these things that I currently do to heal my inner child. And that's why I think the way that this inner child feels today is quite brave and creative and inspired and kind of free to pursue these ideas and inspirations. And then 6th card here is, how can I support my inner child? Right, so we have healing, but then how do we support? And the card we get is the Queen of Pentacles. She knows her worth. She is extremely secure. She is wealthy. She lives in abundance. But whenever I see the Queen of Pentacles, the phrase comes to mind, she knows her worth. And so this is absolutely how we support our inner child and how we prevent ourselves from needing to do all of this manipulation and use all of these tools. I keep having weapons come into my mind. So like it can feel like being armored and holding weapons. And so then we're incapable of this kind of true intimate friendship here. And then we feel lonely. Okay? So this kid is social and wants to play with others and has been lonely. So to support yourself, your inner kid, you know your worth, and you provide like a safe, secure home. You bring home the Pentacles. Remember, this was a childhood of poverty, of not being recognized. So we could say that this is about self-worth here as well, that you may not have been given credit for all of the amazing things that you did as a kid, all your creative ideas. And so this is what we do now for our inner kids. We recognize their worth, okay? And then I just thought this was so beautiful. The 7th card, it's like a triangle, and the 7th card is the first one on the triangle here on the left. So I laid these out, and it came down to, how do I support my inner kid? And the Queen of Pentacles comes out. It's like, know your worth. And what do I get as a message from the inner child? I get the Sun. And what I get is a big hug And it's just so sweet. This is total happiness and wish fulfillment and comfort and vulnerability. This is, we felt unsafe, naked. We were under the eyes that would look too much at our vulnerability and too unkindly with that sort of scientific gaze here. And here we are. The sun is all about being safely naked, being just vulnerable but free in it, not even feeling vulnerable, feeling completely embraced. Like the way it feels to just sunbathe in the nude. I don't know if you've done that. I highly recommend that. It is a delicious feeling of freedom, and that even if when you're at the nude beach and you take off, what is it? I think for me it's the bottoms. So there's another card in this deck that is from behind this redheaded woman's back. It's a very vulnerable feeling. So for me, when I take off my bottoms and I sit down on my towel and I feel the sun on my body, like slipping them off is a little bit of a leap of faith. I want to hide my butt is a big feeling that I have. But here we have, I just noticed the cute little butt of this guy here getting a hug from a true sweetheart, true sweet soul friend here. Okay, now I wanted to also show you the 8th card, which is the bottom of the deck. And I've been doing this inner child work for long enough that I've come to understand that although there are these negative effects where I might become controlling and manipulative and have all these weapons that I navigate life with, but that I also have a superpower, right? I have multiple superpowers, and I can turn to each one of my inner children at times for that superpower. This kid's superpower is the Ace of Wands. This is the creative inspiration and the courage. This is a very brave and heroic child that you have in you, my friend, and that I have in me. This image is actually this naked person wrapped in this gorgeous blanket that I feel she made. This is a red shawl, red and gold here. It's interesting, it has all the eyes on it, So if your trauma involved being hyper visible in some way, and this happens to women, it happens to people of color, it happens to queer people, it happens to people who come up in dysfunction, and you're trying to walk on eggshells and you're trying to do everything right. You're working really hard for this, but you're visible at the wrong moment. And so the kind of artist that you become in your life, like the talent that you develop for when you do appear, it is, and see, I see eyes all over this blanket. So to turn that visibility into a talent, into inspiration, and to be brave, even though you feel all of those eyes looking on you. So that's why to heal, we find ourselves with kindred spirits, with soul companions, with true friends who recognize us and with whom we are safe to be ourselves. What else we get here? Temperance. Yeah. Just looking at the other cards here in the bottom. Queen of Swords, Judgment. Wow, Queen of Hearts. Yeah. Lots of superpowers, my friend. I kind of feel like this is a complete reading, but I did have a few questions here. So I think that's a complete reading if you want to stop there, but if you want to stick around while I pull more cards just out of curiosity, this is definitely feels really good to look at this. And it also, I felt it, like a little emotional when I looked at this story, and I feel how this kid, this fruit, this little fruity masked person with his hunger is feeling today in this inspired and brave, imaginative, youthful place. This person also has all the eyes on his little gown. Very pink triangles. Feeling very gay today, I just have to say. So, all right, so let's try one card. Let's see if that's enough for us here. So, how my inner child feels now. So we get a Wheel of Fortune. So this is feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky today. Also, this is a little bit of an intense, fated destiny. So there's a kind of sense of destiny here that your kid is having. I feel this doing this right now. I feel like, and maybe that's your feeling too, that this is what a little bit of what I'm meant to do, that feeling. Yeah. Whatever it is that you're doing, that you're inspired and you're being brave and you're doing it, your kid is really excited and they feel lucky. I think they feel lucky to have you as a human when I look at this. My kid feels lucky to have me as a human. Okay, so let's look at what I lacked as a child. And we got, so we get the High Priestess. This is a little bat. Makes me think of the Hangman as well. In fact, I first thought that. But the High Priestess is the intuition, an intuitive connection. So this one felt very cut off from the universe in a way, very alone. Like profoundly alone and like in the quiet, like no messages coming in from anywhere to help this kid know how freaking amazing they were. Okay? And the trauma. The trauma is a 9 of Swords. Okay? This is a big sister with the little ones asleep and the big ones up, anxious, worrying. There's insomnia. The little kid is supposed to feel like a little kid, but this one is feeling like she's being a grown-up for a little one. Protecting, I say a younger sister because I'm a big sister. Right. That's something that kids do. And it makes me think about when we would go stay at my dad's, and and I was the big sister. So, although in many ways my little sister was my protector, so she could easily relate to this card as well. We protected one another. When you're coming up in a difficult childhood and it's not safe, you might become hypervigilant for the sake of the others around you who are, I remember my sister would just really tell the truth, and it was just so scary that she would tell the truth because, that was the kind of visibility that was very, very dangerous. Okay. So whatever that brings up for you, that's a little bit of my story. So these tools, or how this affects your life now. The Magician is the card. What else do we get? We get the Queen of Swords. So this is a great clarification on this. The Queen of Swords is very powerful, intellectual. She can be hyper intellectual, and she is very good at cutting people out. So this hunger that this kid feels is probably a result of how this has shaped your life, which is that you cut people out of your life, right? You use your sword as the magician to control the world, but specifically, you isolate yourself. And that's why we need this Three of Cups to heal this kid, because this kid is hungry and lonely and yearning for others. There's this magical, beautiful fairy child who's isolated by your controlling and limiting the people in your life. Okay, so how to heal my inner child? We get the Three of Cups. There's that reconciliation between you and your child, but also opening your life to friends, true friends that you are safe to be yourself with. We also get the Seven of Wands. So this is an interesting combination. The Seven of Wands is about having integrity. It is also can be a card about resistance, right? So we could see how the one crocodile has a wand between him and the other crocodiles or alligators. So I can't tell them apart. You know what I mean, the big lizards in the water. And each of them has a wand, like a spine here, right? And so they're each exerting their will on this alligator. So within these friendships that you are making to heal this kid, you need to have a backbone. You need to have, you need to know who you are and have integrity and not be a doormat who, in the mode of magician, either cuts people out, or when you bring people in to fill this serious hunger, this love gap that this particular inner child has, you have picked people who are unsafe. You have picked people, well, I don't even know if they're unsafe. You're unsafe. You have been the kind of grown-up who is a doormat. You give away, you betray yourself. It's quite common, right? You're hyper visible as a child. This causes anxiety. It's an anxious hypervigilance that you acquire. And so what you become, right? You had a lack of approval as a child. You felt like isolated even from your own intuition. You lacked knowledge of how beautiful and cool you were as a kid. No one around you is telling you this. They're misrecognizing you, right? And so you can develop being a people pleaser, an approval seeker, and this will cost you your integrity. So to heal this inner kid, we're told, Seven of Wands, have integrity. Be resistant to all of the will that other people seem to be exerting on you. And defend, you're making friends, but you're in that friend group, you don't lose yourself. You know who you are amongst these friends. That's excellent advice. Okay, how can I support my inner child? It was the Queen of Pentacles, know your worth, and the Queen of Wands. Awesome. So what a great combination. The Queen of Wands is passionate. She's down to earth. She goes after what she wants. And your inner kid is the Knave of Wands. So this is another mothering, parenting your inner child relationship here. Let me read about the Queen of Wands in the guidebook here from Guardian of the Night. So let's see. The Queen of Wands saunters in, with a sexy, feminine, effervescent energy as she is eager to get out into the world to create something new and magnificent. Her life almost feels boundless, although often chipper and optimistic. Don't mistake her easygoingness with being a pushover or unambitious, as this queen knows what she wants from life, and she knows how to use her charm to secure it. When you encounter the Queen of Wands, you are directed to walk in a leader's shoes of someone whose mere presence can command the room. This is a woman whose undying, upbeat spirit brings a team together with passion and enthusiasm. It is the Queen of Wands who seeks the potential in every person and situation and has a knack for drawing out the best in each. When you hold this card in your hand, ask yourself if you are seeing your situation from the Queen of Wands position. Are you able to find the good or the potential just waiting to be discovered? Are you focusing on what is working rather than the flaws? Is your health and well-being a priority? When you need a boost to your self-esteem, when you need to feel powerful and in command, call on the lioness to help you roar. If you are uncertain or if you feel uneasy about taking the lead, if you need a boost of energy to rally a team, call upon the lioness for her fearlessness and passion. When you walk next to a lioness, you will be protected. So protect your inner child. The crow is a nod to my first deck, the Crow Tarot. Here the bird is passing the wand to the lioness, and with it, the power of intuition. So remember, you lacked that with the High Priestess as a kid. So bring your intuition now, right? The crow is offering that to this queen. Of being able to glance through the veil to see the possibilities the future holds. Passion, command, authority, royalty, power, prestige. So these are the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. These are cards that are clearly about reparenting this Knave of Wands person and really helping them cultivate this superpower. Like, this is a part of you, this kid is the part of you that makes you the Queen of Wands. So recognizing that and embracing it is what you're advised to do here to support your inner child. And finally, a message from your inner child, which was this hug, the sun. We get the Six of Pentacles. This little bird safe on the water buffalo's head, a mutual and generous giving and receiving of pentacles, of security, of abundance. So your inner kid has some pentacles, a sweet little gift for you in this message. And finally, on the bottom, we get the Hermit here. And the Hermit is, again, someone that goes inward to heal and to seek truth. So we have a double message here of knowing your own truth and seeking it inside of yourself, right? And this is a part of healing the past, of not having access to your High Priestess self. All right, well, that was so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me, and I think I'll do more of these. Let me know if you like it. Okay, bye-bye. And by let me know, I mean like it, leave me a note. And, you know, hardly anyone watches this. So we make our own little community of people healing our inner children here. And there's a great deal of privacy in that. You know, it may be just me and me watching this, but if you're here still, let me know. Okay, thanks.